right here on the KLPGA Tour. My name is Adam Jenkins. It is an absolute pleasure to have you aboard with us this afternoon. And if last year's conclusion was any indication, well, my goodness, are we in for quite the 3 days of elite golf. It was a 3-hole playoff last year for Bogey, who fell just short of the eventual winner, Hyun. And as we get into this back half of the season in anger, well, it is ratcheting up the pressure, most certainly. We have Young. She taps in for a par. Couldn't quite get there on the initial stroke. And we'll go over to 8. Fangxin Shil. She's 1 under after 7. This is a 3.1 meter putt for birdie. And just as we get our words in order, we certainly saw that the putt was in order. She increases her score and is understandably all smiles. Kang Chae-yeon teeing off on the first. We are playing the Sun course on the way out. And for groups like this one, it will be the back 9. The point course, it is known, is where we will see the more straightforward back 9 on Sunday. Very good on with a tricky pin placement in this first round. Flanks it just off the front fringe and a bit longer rough here in Yongin. It's not for the faint of heart, the test. Now here is another shot from 1 with the driver. Sailing over the rough and into the fairway. 351 meter par 4 to begin the Sun course. And up on Min-ji, a very respectable 3 under after 9 holes. This is a chance to go even higher. In fact, it would be a tie for 3rd. Unfortunately, that has been pushed just right of the target. A tough start for Hung Yoo-min. She's +1 after 8. Pull up her scorecard and see how we got to that point. You can see a birdie at 1 and back-to-back birdies at 6 and 7. That, however, is a much better approach onto the 9th green. Fangxin Shil fresh off of her birdie here on the par 5. 552 meters, and if you believe it, it's still not the longest hole on course. She didn't go for the driver, she went for the wood instead, and she has pulled that off to the left. In fact, it skips off the cart path. She probably would have preferred it return to the asphalt to take a drop a little bit closer to the green. For some free relief at least.
센터나 왼쪽 끝 한번 보고 치는 거. 플레이하겠습니다.
2 under score is tied for 18th, 5 back of our leader, Chun Suni. Now Yu-hyun Jo, who has played par 5s better than anyone else on tour this season, 4.64 strokes on average. Takes the perfect concoction of driving power and accuracy, and she placed that to perfection on the left side of the fairway. Some beautiful blue skies. Sun starting to poke through the clouds. 30 degrees today. 2.7 meter per second steady wind, keeping the flags flapping in the breeze. Despite this being peak summer season, the green showing a little bit of wear and tear, but the course, from what we've been able to scan for the past 15 to 20 minutes, looks to be in pristine condition. This is EJ Young. She is off the back of the par 5 in 3 strokes, which is no small feat. At 560 meters or 612 yards. That's how long this hole will play today and tomorrow before shortening up for the final round on Sunday. She had the option to pitch or putt. She's chosen the latter and has a lot of green to traverse. And I don't know if she could have dreamed up a much better conclusion than that. Almost at the shadow of the flag from what will feel like the first hole tee blocks instead of just off the green. And the second shot now for Yoo-Hyun Jo. Very good with the wood just as the fairway narrows. Just off the back of the green, there is a pretty treacherous OB out of bounds area. You can see by the heavy tree canopy, it's not a hole where you want to be long. Lay up with the second shot and then look for the pin, which is just over the bunker that we can see out on the horizon.
근데 좀 더 우측으로 쳐야 될 것 같긴 한데 캐리가 많이 안 나올 것 같아.
Rightfully worried about the lie for Pengqin Shield.
나이스?
Thick rough. Awkward one with the ball well beneath her as well on this hillside. Balance is one of the toughest parts of the stroke as she tries to just lay up in the fairway. Mission accomplished, all things considered. Plenty of right to left break on the green here. Back towards the front, there's a section in the middle where there's a little crest and the ball will drop on either side. Expecting it to move much more laterally than it did. That stays fairly straight. Leaves her with about a 2-meter putt to finish off the hole. And Coach Yi-won with a 52-degree wedge. It's only 87 more meters to go. Trying to stay left, just as she has done. That was a really nice approach shot. And back tonight, Hung Min with a chance to return to even and go out with a 36. Not a simple putt. There's a little bit of magic on her side. Just runs out of speed. Knew exactly where to play the putt in terms of the line, splitting the ball markers, but it is a tap-in par, and she will begin the back nine at +1. Now Peng Min-ji, her second shot at 11. Back right where she needs to head, just like this. That is circa 2023, 2024 Peng Min-ji. Her issue this season has just been stitching 3 or 4 days in a row. It's not surprising to see her posting a big score in the first round. It's the sustainability that's the trickiest thing about this sport that we love so much. Should be a little right to left break. Not much downhill. Doesn't need a touch or big touch. That's a good par for Kim Shi-hyun. Pardon me, great birdie for Kim Shi-hyun. Forgot just how close she was able to play that approach shot. She's 2 under at the turn. So used to seeing the sports cars available on the par 3s. Looks like a pretty good pickup. All the more incentive to go low. And the flag is almost camouflaged by the foliage. Left of the green, just over the fountain. Next to play, skipping that short, trying to reach with a long iron, as it's been a bit of a rocky start to the hole following a big birdie for Peng Shin-shield. That's a very drastic carom off to the left. See, she landed it on a hill. And with the spin on the wedge shot from the rough, Park Yang-kyung sends that all the way to the back left. No such difficulties. That is a very makeable birdie. She'll be thrilled with a short distance remaining to improve the score. Pretty similar situation for Kochi 1, who's maybe a meter for the birdie here. It'll go left to right, but it goes right down into the hole. And her score has improved to -2. you call that pretty fairly, the center of the green. With a longer than desired putt for birdie coming up after the break. But before we get there, a look at the leaderboard. Here's how things shake up on a Thursday afternoon in Yongin. It is Chun Sung-yi who has a 2-stroke advantage over Kim Min-sun, 7 under and 5 under respectively. 3 players tied at 4 under. That's Kim Na-young, Kure-yeon, and Lee Jun-hee. From there, well, it gets quite busy. A dozen players at 3 under, and, well, even more so than that, 22 players currently at 2 under par in this opening round of the 14th KG Ladies Open. And welcome back. Unfortunately, we were hoping that we could bring you a Hung Min-ji birdie, but she has not quite solved the break, so she'll stay at 3 under. Hung Min and her group next to start the back 9. Hole number 10. Surrounding the left side of the green here. Slightly uphill from the tee to green. With bunkers to be mindful of as well. Now 9, punching shields in the sand. She was looking to reach in 3 and minimize the mistake from that tee shot over into the rough. Not in a terrible spot. She should be able to secured that par without much further incident. And Kim Shi-hyun next with the driver. That was one heck of a swing. She was looking for a little extra power. Where's the trade-off? There's here perfectly in the fairway. She won't have any issues with that. And now Park Young-young, who has a little, Yu-Hyun Jo, pardon me. She took a similar skip and roll as Park Young-young. We'll see her update in a moment. Okay. Graphics operator just making sure I'm on my toes. I am. That's good. The initial prognosis was exactly spot on. An even par score. Transecting the green back towards the front right. She'll have a short putt for par next, as will be the case for Jae-min-young on the par 3. She'll stay at 2 on their right to left break, but it starts too early. Why, she was right on the money. Disappointing end to a frustrating hole. Ends up with a 35 on the way out. 3 birdies and bogeys at 6 and 9, 1 under at the midway mark. Jo to get to 4 under par, which is close to uncharted territory. And 5 players have made it to this score or better. None have done it as fast as Yu-Hyun Jo could. That's an excellent putt. That's a 32 at the turn. A marvelous start to the round, to this tournament. She's tied for 3rd. After the tee shot, only 91 meters remaining for Hyun Mi here, 10. But she is in the rough, and she does have an uphill climb to the green, so this will play a little longer. Despite all that, she's decided 52 degrees is the best club for her. And much more central than she would have liked to be. By no small margin, she is the furthest to the pin from the group. They go back to 9. 36th stroke of the day so far for Park Young-young. That's a good par score. Rain on 18, her 9th hole of the day. One of the groups teeing off on the point course. She takes the putt firmly and it fans away to the right. This is Kim Shi-hyun, who is our leading rookie of the season so far. Earned 105 points last week to 993 on the season. Battling with the likes of Soguna and So-jian. Haven't had a rookie winner yet in 2025. That's not to say it can't and won't happen. But so far, this is the day of Jung Soon-yi. Obviously, we are very intrigued by Yoo Hyun-jo. We know what she's been able to do in the past 6 weeks or so. She's already within 3 with 9 holes still to play. A birdie at the midway mark moves her into a tie for 3rd at Sunning Point. And welcome back. Here's Coach Won's approach shot. As the wind begins to pick up, you can see the flag, a much taller flag with the uphill green. There's a bit of a lean to it at the moment. She attacks the green with precision. We'll have a closer putt for birdie than what Hung Min faces here at 10. Just hasn't sorted her wedges yet today. She still has time, but it's the biggest reason why there is a plus beside her score. Ji, she's hoping that she's really starting to run around into form. Your next win is never guaranteed, even if you've won 19 in the past. Until she reaches that historic milestone, she'll always wonder. Tied for 10th at the BC Card Hanggang Ladies Cup last week. That takes her top 20 scoring averages so far this season. Meanwhile, good approach leads to an easy putt. The game is really simple when you break it down in those terms. 3.925 strokes per par 4 this season. Unfortunate but undeniable bit of a cold streak for year 1 this season. Punching shield mode. The door is open for her to reignite a little bit of that rivalry. Again, Joe. In the money ranking this season, 618,333,434 She has a long way to go to move on the podium places, but where she is in her career, I think she will be absolutely thrilled to be in this position. Massive and consistent improvement of 11 top 10s now in 18 events that she's played. Just carrying a bit too much speed on the chip up to the green. And Pungmin-ji does have her birdie. It is remarkable just how much confidence plays a factor in this game. She is filled to the brim with it entering this week, and it's translating to a wonderful front nine. Also 3 back now. Hyun at number 11. She'll go right into first kind of rough, but the worst of lies. Still a vacant green there for the taking. Wind in the water will make for a nervous stroke in that position. And now Hung Min. Big swing to clear the water. Into a good spot, just as the fairway widens. Kyung next. Gazing down towards the flag. That was close to being nearing disaster. She is in the rough, but she is good and close to the pin. You can't fault her bravery in attacking it. No such trouble. That is struck to perfection, and much more like it from Jin Shiel's perspective. Bogey, even after 11, working that so close it nearly hits the flag. Extreme stuff, and for my money, one of the best approach shots we've seen today. That's about 15 centimeters away from an eagle. Back at 10. Just about burns the outside of the cup, very close to the birdie. Well, the breeze at her back not doing her much in the way of favors, though she does stay on the green. After a dozen holes, she is at even. We're going to roll off the hillside rough and stay on the fringe. Those are 3 strong shots. Shield for 2 under. And just breaking away at the last moment. She thought she had it. You mean a 7-iron, 141 to go. Drastic change in elevation as well. Riding up to the back green and climbing into a fantastic spot from which to putt for birdie. side green, which to attack, and one player in the group faring well, the other will have a little bit of envy.
빨리 지나가 주세요. 이 라이트 사이 떨어지는데. 플레이 하겠습니다.
Minor pause, waiting for the fairway to open up. Sends a beautifully struck drive into the fairway. Out of ahead as the par putt is handed off to the caddy. We cast our gaze back to 11 with Pak Yang Yang. And Peng Min-ji, well, she started to walk it in and not in a confident strut to the flag. She knew she was slightly off. Stop at Hollies before the walk to the fairway. An excellent birdie, the easiest she'll play probably all week. Min-ji has her par. And this is a dribbler from off the green with a really good line. It's great up. Down will be significantly easier. So 2 putts gets the par and an unchanged score. And now Hung Yumin. It's really hard to get in this position and climb back to even. And oh, looked like it was going to grab enough. It's the toughest one to put behind you. You do everything right and still feel like you can't buy one. This is moving well right. There's no doubt it's a dogleg. We've lost it from this camera, and we need our friend in the fairway to do us a solid. She's keeping the driver in hand. I wonder if she's waiting for word of whether or not she's hitting provisional, and it looks like she will. That was as big of a slice as I've seen in the past few weeks. Kim Shi-hyun next on the par 3 12th. Not too bad at all. Very good tee shot. Treat to see Jan Sol out in full force. That ear-to-ear grin is rarely far away. Second at 11 for Yoo Hyun Jo and a 6-iron at 147. Next at the par 3, and even better somehow. 3 sensational shots, and that's the best of the lot. Well done, Hung Yumin. Pengxin Xiu. Shot number 2. Having a little bit of confidence back. She isn't able to keep it on the green, however. Turning into quite the beautiful day with a dramatic sky and a dramatic field just beneath us, where 4 under is becoming quite the popular score. Peng Minji, Yu Hyun Jo, and Yune Reem all within 3 of Chun Sung-Yi's lead. Joining also at 4 under through 7 holes. That rounds out your top 9. As our coverage of the 14th KG Ladies Open will resume shortly from Sunning Point.
오케이. 계속 순결에 약간 결은.
And we return to our action with a little bit of drama. Kim Ji-hyun so close to a birdie. Would have made for quite the highlight with the fountain in the background, but unfortunately there fountains of tears after that miss. Now to 11, Yu-Hyun Jo. Waits it well, keeps it close. Even par on the 10th tee. The group getting their back nines underway. Jihan Seoul, for the first time today on hole number 12, has a birdie. Moves to -1. Last in the group to get underway. So a left to right shaped drive around the trees. That is incredibly disappointing for Hung Yumin, who did so well on the tee. Give herself a short putt for birdie, but it went missed. And now Park Young at 11. Straightening out, and we'll have the legs. That's a birdie.
프레임 더 주세요. 네. 감사합니다.
And putting down from just off the green and close to missing, but she can celebrate a birdie from off the green. Oh, Pengxin Shields in the same boat as Hung Yumin. That's one she has to have, and she knows it. Fast forwarding to the 13th hole. This is the last of a pretty busy stretch of par 4s. Of course, there's the momentary departure at 12, but right back to work up the hill with driver. And Hung Min trying to bounce back here at 13, but a difficult day, unfortunately, seems to have taken another turn for the worst. Fortunately, we have a volunteer there to lend a helping hand, but she's in a rut that she can't seem to get out of right now. Now Peng Min-ji, someone on the opposite end of that spectrum, someone with all the confidence in the world right now, and showing off. Backspin on that approach to the back of the green keeps her on. The wind in her back is an 8, inside of 1.5 meters for a very easy birdie coming up. And Park Young watching on pensively. Well off into the rough. That's a long way off the mark, even with the pin placement in the widest part of the green.
아 근데 그냥 다쳐도 좀 뒤로 지금 핀 엣지가 40.
다치자. 90% 정도. 기대하겠습니다.
And Yu Hyun Jo with 7 iron. Also here at 12. No trouble reaching and staying on the green. This aerial view does a really good job of showing just how close to the front left the pin is today. In the middle of the green here. If anything, that breeze is helping. Oh, it's varying from right to left to back to front. The many factors involved in a successful or unsuccessful tee shot. Peng Min-ji could have capitalized and gone to 5 under. She could have joined Kim In-sun's 7. Close but no cigar on hole number 12. Hole number 13, pardon me. That's where she's through. 5 to play within 3. And no more upward movement from that group, tied for 3rd. Pae So-hyun, the defending champion, headlines the group, tied for 10th at 3 under after 18. welcome back. Great to have you along with us as we enter our second hour of coverage of the first round of the 14th KG Ladies Open. 54 holes of stroke play. And a race to 7 under today. Shin Dain hits the turn with third birdie. It's a 33 on the way out. And Yuhyun Jo. It's an outside chance at 5 under. All she can do is give it her best crack. That's a pretty good effort. In fact, it's so good it catches the inside of the cup. She was hoping to use the flag as a backboard. It won't show up on the scorecard, but that's a confidence-building putt. And Han Yu-min still +1 after a dozen holes. She had a big oopsie off the tee, so that was her third. Needed to be close, and to her credit, is close. And Bungshin Shil close, but will still be even when she arrives at 13. Not for the faint of heart. Certainly one of the more unique bridges on tour. Kim Shi-hyun just inside of 96 meters, but a big uphill journey to the hole. Rolls that all the way to the back fringe. And here's Park Young as her caddy runs over just to make sure he sees where it lands. Rolling fairway hillside. She's safe from the rough.
오른쪽을 많이 볼 필요는 없고. 오케이.
And Yuhyun Jo. She's carrying on with all the confidence of a player that knows everything about her game is ticking right now. Bungshin Shil away with a good drive as well. And Kim Shi-hyun from off the green just sails by the outside. Minji. It's an 8-iron for her on the 15th. Lands mere centimeters past the fringe, starts to roll back towards the center. Good for Hung Yumin. Maybe that couldn't course correct.
자, 플레이 하겠습니다.
Jianzhou at 1 under, teeing off here at 14. It's not a good place to zoom out from. Typically means your second shot is not going to be a walk in the park. Buck Young at 119 will play almost like 135. Rolls in from the fringe back onto the green.
Okay.
Punching Jill 99 meters on 13. Heads all the way to the back green and digs in. Skipping, rolling, holding it on the end of the fairway. Hyun-Jo from the sand after the initial shot at 13. She can't see the flag with the monolith beside her. And so buried that she doesn't have the carry to return to the fairway. And third shot of 18. Ninth hole of the day, and uh-oh, she's lucky to stay up top. Hyun-Jo suddenly her third stroke, trying to get up and down for par, and that's not going to do much in the way of favors. Oh, that's going to go. Excellent birdie for Pengmin Ji. Struggled with a much shorter one a hole prior. She just needed a bit more of a challenge. She's 2 back of the lead. A gentle push. The wind sends her towards the fringe at the back, but in a nearly straight line towards the flag past it. This is a bit unexpected. For this portion of the course, the skies have opened up and the umbrellas are out. It will certainly soften the green. It will also wreak havoc on drives. Let's see how it affects Park Young-young's putt as she aims towards the fringe and ends up about a meter away. Young able to preserve that score for one more. And Park Bogey. This was moments before the rain began, and she has a birdie. Sandwiching a bogey at 13, pickups at 12 and 14. She is down to her final handful of holes in this opening round. Punching Shield drops off. It was a good effort. Punching Shield will cart apart here. You mean second shot on 14. Lots of speed. She rolls straight through the green and off into the rough. Not just the skies opening up, we're into torrential territory. And there's Understandable, but we'll need to take a moment here and wait out this cell directly over the course here in Yongin. Big system moving in on the west coast as we speak. Athletes, supporters, officials alike. The only people enjoying this weather are not people. The only souls, perhaps. It's not foul when you are a foul. Interesting set of weather where this was just a mild rain shower when it passed Suwon, and it has obviously picked up in veracity. That faster system just north of Seoul should go clear. We hope that the blue skies, or at least a pause in the rain, is not too far off. I can understand at some point you got to try, but with the wind, with the rain, I don't know. Other than wanting to maybe head to the clubhouse and dry off, what's the hope to achieve with being here? Yu-Hyun Jo's going to attempt it anyways. Can't say that that result is much of a surprise, unfortunately. And no guarantee that that par will be made either. It's course wide, it's region wide at the moment. Looks like there's only one player at the moment who is even attempting to play, and that's Yu-Hyun Jo. And now this is a putt for Bogey. She avoids the double, but falls victim to a tricky set of conditions, to put it mildly. It's her first bogey of the day. The only thing to make the rain worse is having this type of lie. It's a pretty big feat alone for Kim Si-hyun just to find the ball. She swings it like a baseball bat and is able to get onto the green somewhere. That's a great success. And now from just dry with the pond in behind, the Ruin, playing the 9th hole of the day, he fires a chip onto the green. And Han Yu-min with a pitch after 2 strokes at 14. This was just her 3rd. And this is what she'll have remaining for birdie. Kim Chae-in. The amateur could go to even. She's 17 years old. She qualified for this tournament by winning the first Kim Yo-ju Pacific Links Korea Cup AJGA Championship with E. Daly back in July. Sure, an absolutely marvelous experience for her, playing on the top flight. Well, the marine is lessening slightly, which isn't very hard to do considering where we were about 5 minutes ago. Charlene leaves herself with 4 to 5 feet. One more putt at least required. An uphill putt, Hung Yu-min is off the line. Another close call, but we're collectively in a bit of a dry spell. And yes, that's ironic. Irun has her second bogey of the front nine. It's a 38 on the way out. Plenty hope for a bit of respite from the rain has diminished. It's picked back up. Shoilim unable to stay at 4 under. That's a bogey to drop her out of that growing peloton. Bogey free through 8 with 4 birdies. And the weather has an impact on how she finishes the front nine. Well, it is our hope that this won't last long. Certainly the torrential at times downpour is impacting how things are faring in Yongin. 3:36 local time. We'll take a break and be back in a few minutes with more from the opening round of the 14th KG Ladies Open. And welcome back to Sunning Point. It's a positive sign to see a little bit more blue and fewer umbrellas. That's on your means drive. And now, a low lofted punch from the rough for Bungxin Shiel as she plays that back into the fairway on hole 14, the par 5. Joe's next. She looks disappointed as she tries to turn the page after a bogey that she picked up at the last. Kim Ji-hyun at the 15th tee. Oh, she swung herself out of her shoes. Caught that on the toe of the driver. That's gone forever. New ball, not a provisional. That's a penalty, and she'll have to crack open a new case. She really went for the extra power, and she ran the risk, and unfortunately suffers the consequences. This looks much more like it, and it needs to be. This is shot 3 all of a sudden. That's what she was hoping to do on the first. It's the calm after the storm. And now Bungxin Shiel's third. Right out the back of the green. He's actually probably thankful for the first time of the rain for slowing that down. Green's playing extra soft now, understandably. Well, that's the trade-off. When you don't go for as much power with a back-placed pin, you end up in the middle of the green with a long putt either way. Long walk up onto the green. Also gives us a nice perspective how there's a gentle sloping hill towards the back section where it flattens out. Also 2 sand traps to be mindful of. While we wait, we'll go to 15. It's a second shot for Hung Yu-min, who's currently and still at +1. Couldn't have asked for a much better spot at which to land. Just inject a good deal of confidence, as it should. This might follow in the same vein of a good shot. Skips on the fringe, and she did not want to mess with the sand trap. It's evident. Something in between clubs. Playing that back to about a meter away. It's a good setup shot. And the next approach, yeah, that's excellent. Landing softly just past the fringe. It's a really, really good on. Joe. Equal number of insects in the air as there is raindrops. This is for birdie. All the way to the back and starting to drift on line. All things considered, that's a good shot. And Peng Min-ji, this is for a par. It's been a difficult 17th. Oh, off the back. Started to drop, but carrying too much speed, it skips out. That's somehow inspiring and disappointing. Young, that was for a bogey, and yet there's still a roar of applause as she ensures she'll be at even and not +1. From that distance, it was any guess. Just like Park Young, it is bogey. Shil is fortunate that this is for a par and not to drop. She is unfortunate, though, that she didn't read the line and is bogey. Kochi won 4 under. A 5.6 meter putt. It is birdie number 4 today. She has just 2 holes to play. And Yuhyun Jo avoids going down with the par. To 18. After 17 holes, Jae Min-kyung is even. From that position, from the fairway, she will be quite happy to be so close, even if she was mere centimeters away from a brilliant finish. The day with a simple tap in. I know how you mean. Putting for birdie at 15. Some snap break though.
Thank you.
That was number 4 at the 18th, so what is left is for par. Chun Yo-min. After 9 holes, she's +2. 38 on the way out. And Kim Ji-hyun, in opening round 71. And that will just stay on line long enough.
플레이하겠습니다.
우측 거 말고.
우측 라이트 A.
Yu-Hyun Jo. 384 meter par 4. And the last quartet of the round. Right of the fairway and might have just dipped into the rough from Park Hyung-kyung. And the last in the group to begin, that's in the fairway.
내려가세요.
Hung Yumin on our final par 3. This is 16. Just arrives past the fringe on the green. Next tee shots at 16. Will be narrowly the closest to the pin. Tough pin to attack, as we've seen throughout the day. That's a pretty good end result. You can chip or you can putt from there. And Park Hyung-kyung, who is at even after 14, also tries to go for the green in 2. And also finds out what happens when you don't quite have the power to do it. And Yu-Hyun Jo approaching 15, and also not quite enough to get all the way there. Now at 384 meters, this is undeniably a very long par 4. It is a test of the strength, that's for sure. Shield going through the motions, wondering how that miss came to be. All right, so as we wait for this group to make it to, well, I can't say on the 15th green, but just before it, we can take a break. Kim In-sun 7 and Yine Reem, who is the biggest change to the leaderboard since our last refresh, now within 2 strokes, tied with Kim In-sun 7. Both golfers trailing our leader, Chung Seung-ee, who sits at 7 under par. Well, then welcome back. Simply by the maths, these 3-round tournaments put all the more emphasis on a strong start, and Hung Yumin is understanding that it's becoming a really tough day at work. Just haven't been able to get on top of things. A long way off with the leader at 7 under, and well, it's not nearly as troublesome. New Young Joe, after that bogey that really felt like it derailed her round, she's feeling her share of the struggles to get things back on the straight and narrow. Now punching shield, this is for Birdie. It will tiptoe its way down the hill and stop about 1.5 meters short of her birdie. Now Hyun Serene. 95 out on 14. She's at even. Reminder that the pin here is all the way at the back right. We've seen it countless times. What we haven't seen is 2 players in the same group get that close to the pin. Those are some marvelous ons from the fairway. And now another close call, but one that won't do anything to improve the score from Peng Min-ji. It's a par to stay at 4 under, and that's where the round ends. Just the one bogey came at the 17th. She's tied for 4th at 4 under after 18 holes. Well, 4 called on 17. It fortunately avoids the worst, as that was making a beeline for the trees, but Hung Yumin is looking like there are a few other places she'd rather be than on Sunning Point at the moment. Moving that inside of 1 meter, just a little tap in left. That's a great on. The sun certainly is shining down on the 16th hole at the moment. And Serene for birdie. She fails to get under par. Tricks it a bit too firm, and that has gone missed. Park Young. Just about pin high, but right. Located on the green.
뒤는 딱 받아줘서 이거 풀쳐도 상관없어.
All three players going right. Varying degrees of success, 2 on the green. Function Sheila and Co. will begin the walk down. As close as you can come without jarring it. She was waiting for the rattle that these athletes love so much. It takes one more putt, and Li Shuying finalizes a bogey-free round of 33 on the way out and 36 all pars on the way in to finish 3 under today. After being just a bit too fast on the putt, she settles for a 2-putt conclusion. You mean 147. Because of her issue with the tee shot, that is a important putt to at least ensure she gets on the green. And Function Shield, that's a decent try. Needs it to stop now. Should be close enough that she feels confident, but there will be some interesting break on that. Just finding that narrow strip of grass between the sand and the green. It does roll into the back corner. And this will just hang on enough for a birdie from Park Young. Yu Hyunjo really taking her time to set up this putt for birdie. It's 6.8 meters. It is downhill, which should help a bit with the speed. But in 2025, this distance has been converted on only 12% of the time. Unfortunately, she isn't the outlier. The trend remains. Two putts will get her there with the umbrella on standby. It's a very, very long way back. All she can do is take it one stroke at a time. Hasn't been a day full of great successes for Chi-Han Sol. Fewer birdies than she certainly would have hoped for. Now, Peng Shil, she's back to even par. Hung Min trying to do the exact same thing, but this will be a very long and improbable putt. All things considered, very good effort. Pak Bo-gyum, her setup shot at 18. She would love nothing more than to finish the round at even. That shot, though, won't help her chances. We'll get an answer soon if she was dry or not. Right alongside the cart path and the rough. That's a very good start to the recovery from that position, well right of the fairway. Here at 17, Kim Shi-hyun putting for a birdie uphill. Oh, breaking away right to left in the final moments. She'll settle for a par. So close that that will leave a sour taste. Fucking Young on the penultimate hole. Tee shot at the par 4. Fortunately ends up in the rough. All right, 4:24 local time here in Yongin. It's a 2-stroke advantage for Chung Seung-Yi over Kim In-sun 7. There was some company at that 5 under par score, but a bogey has once again reduced it to 2. Shin Dae-in is through 13 holes, still has a handful to go, and is within 3. She's a name to monitor as we come back to shortly wrap up this opening round of the 14th KG Ladies Open. And we're going right back to work. Great to have you along today. Hensei Rain, after 2 strokes, is in the stretch of grass between the fairway and the green. It's just a soft lob. She She rolls that good and tight. That'll be a tap in to finish the hole out.
Okay.
Yuki and Joe, we knew it wasn't a great line. Making the next shot a rather tough one. She is on the green. Next also from the rough, having more than enough power to not just reach the green but clear it. It's on the backside and it's rough to rough. Now Hung Yumin here at 18, 560 meter par 5 begins. A birdie would take her to an even par 72 after round 1. From right beside sprinkler head in the fairway, she sends the approach on down. Back to 18 with Kim Shi-hyun. And down towards the rough. We'll have to wait and see whether she fully avoided it or not. And this is ultimately where the groups are headed. Coaching one, putting for birdie at the last. There's a long putt that she trades in to be, well, just 1 meter and a short putt away. And there's the finish. It is 4 under and bogey free for Kochi 1, 35 out, 33 in. That's a really strong start to the tournament. Yuki and Joe, this is the first of what will almost certainly be 2 putts. Well, she should be satisfied with that. Right now, Pak Bogyan. So she avoids the water. High lofted pitch. That is what will be remaining, trying to avoid a bogey. It's a decent shot from there. And now Pak Yang. Interesting decision, this. It's the fringe, but it's thick. She's still chosen to putt instead of chip. There's the doubter as she gets to that close location. And next puck bogey. This is for a round of 73, looking to avoid a bogey. Big swing to run it up the hill. In fact, it's a bit too much power. Well, and now punching Shield. Trying to get back to even. Downhill with left to right break. It went where she expected it to go. It did move a little early though. And that's ultimately the fine margin that prevents the birdie. Second for Hung Yumin. 294 still to go, but significantly downhill towards the green. She can absolutely crank those wood shots, and that's exactly what she's done here. Here's EG Hyun 3. Haven't seen anything from her today, and her first appearance on the broadcast is a highlight reel approach. This part is done. Get down for birdie. Just a couple of minutes. Now Kim Shi Hyun 3. Kim Shi Hyun, pardon me, at even, playing her third. Went for a bigger club for more distance. With this extra long par 5, it would be a par 6 if you or I were to play it. We're not in the same stratosphere even as these athletes, but even then it can be quite the big ask, as was just put on display. Yu Hyun Jo to stay within 4. Trying to avoid a second bogey of the back 9. Short putt with lots of break though. I think she might have finally just dried off from the impromptu rain shower we had about an hour ago. And Yen Serene on 16. Takes the downhill slides after arriving on the green. Would have ideally been a little bit closer to the right than she ended up being. Well, a green line to begin and a near perfect drive in the middle of the fairway. And you mean the setup shot at 18. Unable to escape the fringe. Can't putt from there. Finally, seeing it emerge from the sky. Yu Hyun Jo also with a good drive. Ocean Shield, a big swing and drive. And we are 3 for 3, and that is the longest drive, and it's not particularly close. So away goes the group. And with the luxury of our drone, we can fast forwards further down the fairway. Kim Ji-hyun in a tough spot in the rough right of the cart path. Not sure if she caught the limbs of the tree above her. Obviously it's a tough out, but unfortunately she's not out. She's still in a precarious position. 9 now. It's been a while since we've been here. Ji-hyun 3 with a birdie. Just outside of the top 10 as she finishes the day. You can count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birdies, 2 bogeys, and a 3 under score after 18 holes. Serene just about to 1 under. Next up for Kim Ji-hyun, this is already shot 6 after a drive OB. Well, this lengthy putt for a double, but triple after the penalty seems more than likely. Young, who is at 3 under, also on her final hole, which is 9, and nearly finishing with an eagle. That would have shot her up the leaderboard in a hurry. When we began the broadcast, we had a beautiful day. It stopped being beautiful for a quick minute, but we're right back to where we want to be. And with this gorgeous view in behind the leaderboard, let's update you on proceedings. Yunheirim and Shindain have both moved into a tie for second position at 5 under. There are now 3 players hot on the heels of our leader, who shot a 65 in the opening round and looks like will take the lead into round 2 at this 14th KG Ladies Open. Can anyone catch Chung Soong-yi? It's not a question we can answer today, but we can get a clear picture of where we'll start tomorrow. And that's next on the KLPGA Tour when we wrap up this opening round. Well, before we say goodbye today, always appreciate these chances to check in on the Dream Tour. Who's coming up next? Who is the star of tomorrow making noise today? And well,
제가 이렇게 다시 트로피를 드는 상상은 수없이 많이 했는데 또 이렇게 좋은 날에 드림 투어에서 우승을 하게 돼서 너무 기쁜 것 같아요. 제가 1, 2라운드 이번 모나크 대회를 계기로 저도 좀 하이스코어를 칠 수 있다는 자신감이 생겼거든요. 그래서 남은 대회도 좀 더 공격적으로 플레이해서 더 좋은 모습 보여드리겠습니다.
We'll just hope you finish that thought as we see the gorgeous trophy that was on offer. The 2025 Monarch Country Club SWR Marketing Dream Tour 13th round. It was Kim Ji-young-2 who picked up her first win on the tour. 36 holes, finished 12 under par, and was the deserved champion. The way things are shaping up, we're headed for a score around there to win it after 3 rounds, maybe even higher than that. Hang Min will be dreaming of a better weekend. There's a chance to finish the round even, and she was awfully close to doing just that. Well, no one in the group will feel thrilled with their round. Back-to-back bogeys, 6 and 7. Birdie at the first, all pars otherwise. Jihan Sol is also at +1 looking to finish. And Kim Shi-hyun, who is even, but that's about to change. This is the group from which we will conclude our coverage today. It's Park Yang-kyung, Yoo-hyun Jo, and Pung-shin Shil. It's Park Yang-kyung's second that stays in the fairway and cuts down the bulk of the remaining yardage. Yoo-hyun Jo next, 3:18 to go downhill. This is playing as a cut right. Will it stay in the fairway? No. Whoa, look out on the cart path.
Oh, nice.
Fast reflexes. Glad to see everyone's okay. I mean, she'll take the extra yardage on a hole that's 560 meters long. Kim Shi-hyun, this is for double bogey, and it would be a minor miracle. She's got to come up the crest, back down, stay to the inside as long as possible. So that's what's left for triple, and she'll be an anxious customer standing over that. She's going to at least +3, but +4 isn't out of the realm of possibility either. .292 for Pung-shin Shil. She can absolutely smash a shot like this with wood, but she's actually decided it's not worth the risk. It's a much smaller club, heads towards the end of the fairway, and decides it's not the time to roll the dice. And Kim Shi-hyun, no. Oh, she has an absolute nightmare to finish the round. That's a quadruple bogey after a double at 15. It had been smooth sailing through 10, but she finishes tied for 103rd. Understandably and obviously disappointed. That's a case of everything that could go wrong did go wrong, unfortunately for her. Park Yang-kyung approach now that the green is open. It's about as good a spot as you can put in, balancing risk and rewards. And Pung-shin Shil. Well, I stand corrected. If we thought Park Yang-kyung was the bar, well, the bar was just raised. And that's why you lay up. Trust your wedges. She'll get to even. Lee Jae-young with a birdie at 9 to finish the round, 4 under, tied for 5th. And Joe, 69 meters, her third shot. It's another simple wedge and actually a very straight line at the flag. She just didn't hit it strong enough. Final group to reach the green, we can check back in on 9, and it's a good time to do just that. Reem, who has been on the climb, she's within 2. Deeper and further left than would have been ideal. And Joe. 4 under if she converts. Riding this line left and just missing to the inside. This is Bakian going for a birdie and 2 under after 18 holes. Left to start. Now it did serpentine its way back right. A bit too quick and a bit too late that break. She's reviewing and wondering. And a simple finish. It's an expertly navigated 18th hole. It is just a par as she finishes with a 69 in the opening round. Now Yunerim. Long putt down the hill back towards the front right edge of the green. We'll take one more. Bakian Young slips in that par. a checkered back nine with some birdies, some bogeys. At the end of the day, it's a 71, 1 under. 72 for Bungshin Shil. So she's tied for 58th. A lot of bogeys there. 4 pickups, 4 drops, and ultimately she's at the same score as when she had begun this morning. There's Hung Jung Mi. The same boat. It's for even. Not the way she wanted to end the round, understandably. It's +1. Bogeys at 14, 2, and 9. Birdies at 7 and 8. She had a great little run going in the final few holes. That's a really strong opening 18 holes. 6 birdies, just 1 bogey. It came at hole number 6. And that's 5 under heading into round number 2. Well, 3 hours on the nose. Just about time to say goodbye. Before we can get to that point, let's go through the highlights from the day. This had been in 17. Chung Sung-hee on her second to last hole with a brilliant putt for birdie. A lot of ground to cover with some tricky break as well. That would be the final time that she would move up in terms of her score today. And it wasn't a perfect round either. She had bogeys at 9 and 13. Otherwise, it would have been a 63 in the opener. And she was that close to making it a 64. She would roll that up. Tap in for her final putt of the day. There you see the aforementioned bogeys. 9 birdies. That's every other hole. Obviously, that's math that we can all handle, but when you say it out loud, you see the scorecard, it has a little bit more of an impression. Bungmin Ji. Saw a fair bit of her today, didn't we? This was on the front 9 where she was absolutely torrid up the leaderboard. Birdies left and right. At that point, she had gone to 4 under par. And this on 10. Second shot that would get a ton of backspin, digging in. Easy birdie from there. And on 12, the par 3, a good tee shot leading to fourth birdie. So jumped the gun a little bit, but that's the score we wanted to talk about. That was through 12 holes. By day's end, of course, we would see her in that same position, 4 under where she finished. Remember this one as it happened live. Couldn't hear the flag, but you could certainly hear the roar as that birdie was added to the day-long tally. On to 15, where Bungmin Ji was looking for 5 under and finding 5 under. It was a brief spell where she was tied for second. Unfortunately for her, it would not be sustained as on the 17th. Well, this was how much ground she had to cover to save a par, and to her credit, she was perfectly on the line. She found the hole, she was just too quick, and it pops out the backside. She would par the 18th to finish at 4 under. Speaking of 4 under, this on the par 3 60. Above the hole, downhill into the cup, 4 under would be secured there. And let's be honest, a popular score today, 8 players tied for 5th. This was at 9, which makes it the final hole of the day for a group that had begun on the 10th tee. Rolling that approach to 10-15 centimeters at the very most. Lee Jae-young, who had 3 birdies on the way in from hole 3 to hole 9, which was her back 9 today, would go to 4 under. So 3 players at the moment, 5 under. Shin Dae-in, we can't count her out just yet. She's within 2 and has 3 holes to go. The aforementioned 8 players at 4 under, that can still change with Lee Se-hee and Oh Kyung-eun, with a few remaining in their rounds as well. Han Bit-na, An Ji-hyun, EA1 amongst those at the 69 score today. No Seung-hee shoots a 70, as does Kim Soo-ji, Yoon Soo-ah amongst others. And Lee Yeon-so, the low amateur, she shoots a 2 under 70 in the opening round. Our defending champion, she is there or thereabouts. That was Pae So-hyun, who last year won this tournament in a 3-hole playoff at 14 under par. Today, it is a 69. She is just outside of the top 10. That gives us 57 players of the 120 in the field who are at 1 under or lower. There is a bit of a logjam for those even par scores, 14 of them by a quick count. And unfortunately, we see some names that we'd expect to be further up. Hung Yoo-min is one of them, shooting a 73. Pang Shin-shil just finishing off her round. She was able to get to even. And, well, that quad that will loom large tonight as the first round is recapped, and a tough time to do it on hole number 18. Okay, it's time for us to go, but fear not, we'll be back on the air at the exact same time tomorrow, and that will be, of course, 2 p.m. local time here in Yongin. My thanks for everyone for putting this broadcast together, and of course you at home for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow for round 2 of the 14th KG Ladies Open, but until then, it's so long for now.